The Audi E-Tron is a German firm's first ever all-electric production car, arriving in the UK a full 2 years after Tesla's Model X and several months behind the game-changing Jaguar I-Pace. It will soon spawn a range of full EVs, including a production version of the E-Tron GT concept and a coupe-styled E-Tron Sportback SUV. Our first drive takes place in the Middle East, which is somewhat strange given the country's historic dependence on oil and the rock-bottom fuel prices. But it's also rather appropriate, as it turns out places like Abu Dhabi are now investing heavily in solar and wind power. Soon, these renewable energy sources will be as cheap and plentiful as petrol.
It certainly looks competitive alongside its Jaguar and Tesla rivals. On the harder new WLTP test procedure, this car will do 248 miles on a single charge. Now, out here in the desert, in the scorching hot 27-degree heat, it's not managing quite as much as that. That may have something to do with the higher motorway speed limit of 140 km an hour, but during our first half an hour with the car, we did 50 km for a drop of 100 km of range. Where this car is particularly clever is when it comes to conserving or indeed generating energy. On a trip up into the hills earlier, we used the car's regenerative braking system, which basically harnesses energy that would otherwise be lost. On a 10-kilometre downhill stretch, we managed to add 12 kilometres to our range, which is a net gain of 22 kilometres. Not bad.
There's only one E-Tron at launch, badged the 55 Quattro. It uses a pair of electric motors, one at the front and one at the back, and a 95 kilowatt-hour battery to produce more than 400 horsepower and 664 Nm of torque. It'll do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5.7 seconds and hit 124 miles an hour flat out.
It never feels as fast as Tesla, that is for sure, but you'd be hard pressed to call it slow. That slug of torque is absolutely instant, which makes it really good for quick overtakes. It does feel like a heavy car though, and that's because it is. This thing weighs 2.5 tons, and despite the torque distribution being rear biased and body control being pretty good, it is prone to a bit of understeer.
But this is a car designed for cruising, and with the possibility of super quick 150 kilowatt charging, Audi says you can top up that advertised range in half an hour. And unlike in a Tesla, special battery cooling means this is actually feasible in the real world. Unfortunately, in the UK, electric car drivers are restricted to 50 kilowatt charging for the time being, but we're assured that that will change in time.
This new E-Tron is incredibly refined, however. How those boffins at Audi have managed to completely eliminate wind and road noise, even on 20-inch wheels, is absolutely astounding. There is next to no noise at 70 miles an hour, and even though the roads we're driving on are almost completely smooth, the ride seems pretty good too.
There are 3 specs at launch. Prices for the standard car started around £71,500 before the government grant, with every version getting LED lights, 20-inch wheels, adaptive air suspension and 2 charge ports, one on either side of the car. For another £11,000 you can upgrade to the Launch Edition, adding bigger wheels, matrix lights, sports seats, a panoramic roof and a sportier black styling pack. The Edition 1 costs almost £90,000 and is limited to just 30 units in the UK, adding 4-zone climate control, special blue paint and exclusive leather trim.
The interior is typically Audi. That's to say it's built with all the finest materials and filled with all the latest tech. But this E-Tron has a USP, and that is these incredible digital door mirrors. They are standard on the Launch Edition models, but cost £1,250 on the entry-level S-Line. There are 2 cameras on the outside of the car, one on either side, and they project high-definition images onto these little screens by the doors. Would we smash the cash? Well, there's no denying that if you love the latest tech, these things are quite the party piece. However, they don't really provide any better rearward visibility than standard conventional door mirrors. They sit a little bit lower in the car as well, which means a quick glance for an overtake is harder than it should be.
Elsewhere inside, the E-Tron feels as spacious and practical as an Audi Q5. By avoiding a 7-seat option, Audi has maximised the available space inside the E-Tron's cabin. And despite the fact Audi's wheelbase is shorter than both the Jaguar I-Pace and the Tesla Model X, there is plenty of room for adults to get comfortable. The big 605-litre boot offers space for loads of luggage too. There's even a 60-litre space under the bonnet where the engine would usually sit to store the charging cables. the E-Tron will even tow an 1800 kilo trailer. Audi's first electric car is a direct hit. The E-Tron is more comfortable, it's quieter and it's better to drive than Tesla's Model X. And while the 250-mile range may not change the game, as a luxurious family all-electric SUV, it simply excels. Watch our video review of the affordable Hyundai Kona Electric by clicking the window on the left or the window on the right for a first drive in the latest Audi Q3. Click the play icon for our latest video and on our logo to subscribe.